are we going to have this never-ending victim complex? At what point in time does it actually start becoming your fault for your own failures? Or are you going to sit there blaming some straight white man from the early 1900s for the rest of your life?
My God, you spoke what needed to be said. You're speaking facts. Amen, sister.
Alright, man, what's going on? So, in the previous video, we had people saying that black people have a victim mentality, right? So, and one of the ladies said this. So, we're going to take it back from the 1900s all the way into the 2000s, alright? That's what we're going to do. So, alright, so when we look at this, all the things that the people that's in power of this land has done to the darker pigmented people of this land. So when you see the early 1900s, we're going to get there. Early 1900s, destroying black economic independence. We got Rosewood, a self-sufficient black town, was destroyed by white mobs. Homes, churches, and businesses burned. Survivors fled. No persecutions. Alright, so when blacks built wealth independently, it was violently erased. Alright, Black Wall Street, one of the wealthiest black communities in U.S. history. Over 35 city blocks destroyed, hundreds killed, insurance claims denied. Alright, and one of the last survivors just passed away, and I did hear that they did get some reparations, but maybe a few $100s to maybe a couple $1,000s. Alright, wealth accumulation is directly attacked. Alright, so when we go to the Jim Crow era, the 1900s to 1960s, right? Now it's not so early no more, right? We in the middle of it. Alright, so you got segregation and Jim Crow laws, separate schools, hospitals, housing, transportations. Black Americans paid taxes but received inferior service, right? Freedom without access is not freedom. Convict leasing and prison labor. Minor changes used to funnel black men into forced labor. Slavery by another name. Incarceration replaced the plantation labor. Alright, we got economic sabotage by policy. Redlining, 1930s through the 60s. Federal Housing Administration. Federal Housing Administration labeled black neighborhoods high risk. Black families denied mortgages. White families built generational wealth through home ownership. Wealth gap is not accidental, it was engineered. The GI Bill exclusion, the post-World War II Exclusion Act. Black veterans were largely blocked from benefits through local administration. White veterans bought homes and went to college. Equal service, unequal reward. All right. Now we still in the 1950s and 60s, right? Leadership, elimination, and surveillance. FBI, COINTELPRO. Targeted black leaders in organizations. Infiltration, disinformation, and harassment. The explicit goal of the FBI COINTELPRO of this assignment was to prevent black unity and leadership. Prevent black unity and leadership. So they've been doing this for... That's why I be telling, man, don't listen to these lighter pigmented people, bro. How can you listen to somebody that's keep doing this decade after decade after decade after decade after decade after decade that turned to a century, to a decade, to another century, to decade, to another century, bro? Like, I'm not saying we should be racist, but if any people on the face of the earth should be racist, I'm gonna leave that sentence right there. The Martin Luther King assassination. MLK shifted from civil rights to economic justice. Poor People's Campaign. Soon as he switched his message up, like, all right, man, we need a piece of this pie. We built this. Assassinated shortly after opposing Vietnam War and capitalism. When the message expanded beyond integration, it became dangerous. All right. Now this is where I feel like we really got it. Like I feel like I think like all this was set up. Well, not especially after the 1968. I think this really like put the nail in the coffin for the people, right? This 1970s, 1980s, with the drug crime and mass incarceration. I feel like that. I think that has been the biggest blow to the people. Iran-Contra, crack cocaine era. Crack flooded into black communities. Harsher sentencing for crack versus powder cocaine. Crack was more in black neighborhood, and the powder cocaine was more with the white neighborhood. CIA linked allegations regarding drug flow. Widely documented controversy. See, he don't want to say it like that. He don't want to say that they hired Contras from South America to help them bring the drugs in. He didn't say all that, but that's what it is. Drugs destabilized communities while prisons expanded. Ronald Reagan's administration. War on drugs escalated mandatory minimums. Explosion of black incarceration rates. Alright. In 1990s, the Bill Clinton era, policy that locked the door. 1994, expanded prisons, 3 strike laws, welfare reform, reduced safety nets, bipartisan continuation of punitive control. Predatory lending, 1990s to 2000, subprime loans targeted black homeowners. Foreclosures wiped out wealth. Even when access was granted, it came with traps. And I know people say, why would you guys take the loans and stuff? Well, probably because it's probably take the loan or stay in the ghetto, right? And then once the foreclosures came, because of the bad things, all the wealth goes back to them after the foreclosure. All right. And then the hip hop, which I believe is another thing that created so much criminal and violence. Early hip hop was resistance and awareness. This is a corporate takeover of hip hop, but in early hip hop, it was resistance and awareness. But what the corporate era emphasized is violence, hypersexualization, and drug culture. Profits extract the communities, internalize the image. All right, they shape the identity of the inner city, bro. This hip hop did, this gangster rap did. All right, which is horrible, bro. They turned a lot of people in that neighborhood into something they shouldn't be. Then, we got 1985. They actually dropped a bomb on the black neighborhood in Philadelphia. All right, they dropped a bomb on a neighborhood in Philadelphia in 1985, bro. Just 40 years ago. All right, 11 people killed, including children. Neighborhood destroyed. State violence wasn't limited to the South or to the past. All right, so there you go, man. So just, when you hear these lighter pigmented people saying these type of things, I'm like, bruh, this is generational trauma passed down, bruh. Like, 40 years ago isn't a long time. 20 years ago isn't a long time. All right, it's people that's been alive through a lot of this stuff. All right. And I always say, bro, things in the world, as far as mass go, usually move in 5 to 10 years, but usually 10 to 20 year things, maybe 20 to 40 year things, right? And I think the cocaine, mass incarceration, and hip hop really set us back about 50, 60 years. I really do. And that was something that was given to, well, we created that, but when it became corporate, all the messaging became bullcrap. Right? So, yeah, man. So that's all I got to say about that, man. Just don't be listening to nobody that push you through all this stuff. They put you through all this stuff and say, man, don't worry about it, man. You were born here. Bro, you got to think about who teaching us. People that's teaching us, they went through all this stuff. Or they got on drugs. Or they went to jail and all this type of stuff. Oh, why would you? All right, man, I'm done. All right. I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm done. All right.